turbocharged, 6-speed manual, Civic Hatch Sport. It's not a Type R, but what it is the 2017 Honda Civic Hatch Sport. But don't click away just yet, because this is a fantastic entry in the highly competitive compact car segment. Let's start with the back. It's a hatchback, which for some reason is a taboo word here in America. The Civic is one of the few cars that's available with a hatchback in this segment, and there's no reason why you wouldn't get it. It's fantastic. It's got this large opening, plenty of space inside, seats fold flat for a nice trip to IKEA, and enough space for a whole entire crew member here at Clutchkick. Back seats, decent legroom, kind of okay headroom, good seat back position though, seats 3 with ease. Front seat, the cockpit. Fantastic dash layout, no more two-tier shenanigans going on. Simple rev counter with digital speedometer, bright clean gauges, tasteful carbon fiber, job done. Pedals look great, not ideal for heel and toe, but again, it's a hatch sport, not a Type R. Steering wheel, absolutely fabulous, chunky with perfect 9-3 grips. Leather has a smooth matte finish to it, very German. Shifter has a decent feel. It's placed a tad high, which can make driving a little uncomfortable. The clutch, soft, almost foolproof, great for learning stick in. The parking brake is electronic, which is fine for the CVT, but less than ideal for the manual, but cry me a river. The brake hold can automatically hold the car at stoplights, but hill hold can't be turned off. Like I said, perfect for learning stick. The driving position is pretty good. The steering wheel telescopes. Even people with terrible posture, like me, can get comfortable. Going back to the stereo, it's a fairly basic unit. Not particularly loud, not particularly special, but gets the job done. There's no aux input, just USB or Bluetooth only. The color screen is not touch sensitive. The design of the whole unit is pretty cool. It has a floating effect going on, very modern and very hip for the use of today. With the practical stuff out of the way, let's see how it drives. A Civic has to do two things. It has to be fun to drive, but also quiet and comfortable enough for your daily commuting. And the Civic Hatch Sport definitely delivers on both fronts. First of all, thank you Honda for sending us this manual transmission, which is only available on the LX and Sport trims. It's not a sporty manual, but definitely much preferred over the CVT. Now, the shifter is easy to use, very light effort, perfect for this application. The clutch makes driving in Seattle traffic bearable. The bite point is quite high, towards the middle of the pedal, and the engagement is a little vague as well. I'm used to sportier clutches that rely on feeling when it engages and adjusting properly, and that doesn't really work here. Actually, the sloppier you are and less precise you are, the smoother you will be. Brakes, good. Bites at the top of the pedal without being too touchy. They bring you to a confident stop. The throttle, on the other hand, a little slow, but rev matching is not a chore either. Let's talk about this engine. The only one available for the Civic hatches is this 1.5 liter direct injected turbo 4. In the Sport with the 6-speed manual like we have here, it makes 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. It's a solid engine. The turbo kicks in around 2,000 RPM and it pulls nicely all throughout the rev range. However, the power does taper off a little bit at around 5,000 RPM. It casually jogs to 60 in 7.5 seconds. People have complained about RPM float in this car, and I can confirm it is as bad as people say it is. It makes upshifts pretty unpleasant unless you change gears slowly. Through the corners, the Civic hatch hangs on nicely. There's a bit of body roll, and understeer is apparent if you drive like a jerk like me. Despite that though, it's a fun car to push hard. The steering is quick. There's no feel because it's an electric unit, but that's okay. The steering is super light and playful at low speeds, but heavier at high speeds to give you a sense of stability. It doesn't seek center too aggressively, so it makes day-to-day driving a lot more enjoyable. Overall, the car feels playful, and it should. It weighs 2,800 pounds. So the Civic is fun to drive, but is it civilized enough for commuting? On the whole, yes. The cabin is well insulated, very little wind noise and road noise get through. The seats are decently comfortable as well. The engine is very quiet, so quiet that sometimes I forget to upshift. Blind spots are easy to deal with as well. despite the huge D-pillars being that it's a hatchback. The ride is smooth and absorbs bumps over most surfaces. However, when I took the car to Seattle, it did have some trouble dealing with the harsh pavement over there. There's definitely some harshness to the ride, reminding you that this is definitely a Honda product and not an Acura product, which is completely fine, but worth noting. I've been getting nearly 30 miles per gallon flooring this everywhere, and if you drive like a normal human being, there's no reason why you wouldn't get mid to high 30s, even with this manual transmission.
On the whole, this is a great car. The compact car segment is filled with cars that can take you from point A to point B, but the Civic does so without boring you to death. The engine is punchy, but light on fuel. The car handles well without sacrificing ride quality. The hatchback is practical, but striking to look at. In this segment, there are very few cars I can genuinely recommend, but this is definitely one of them. Hatch Sport. The car handles well. Oh, me. The car handles well without sacrificing ride.